One of the most important things that a father can do is to set his children straight. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set some of you straight. If you feel I'm talking to you, I am. And you can bring this message back to whoever you work for or whoever you work with. There is a gospel story. All of you are familiar with it. And it's about the unjust steward. What did the unjust steward do? Well, he was in trouble with his boss. Probably was skimming off the top. But he said, what am I going to do? I'm not going to have a job when my termination date comes. So he calls in those people who are debtors to the master. And he says to them, how much do you owe? Oh, I owe 100 bushels of wheat. And okay, make it 80. Called somebody else in. How much coffee do you owe? And he said, well, I owe about 10,000 cans of coffee. Well, I make it 5,000 cans of coffee. And then he says, calls in somebody else. He goes, what do you owe? And he says, I owe about 2 kegs of beer. Make it 1 keg of beer. Okay? What's the secret there? Why is he doing that? Because he's smart. He's smart. He's thinking smart. He's working smart. Why? Because when his term is up as the steward, he'll have friends out there who maybe will give him a job. Right? You understand? Capiche. You have to listen. Right? That's called working smart. A lot of people work hard. Working hard is not good enough. You have to be able to work smart.
That's right.
What I have noticed in the pro-life movement, and I understand that everybody means well. Right? But people are not working smart. There is a replication of services. Organizations that are all doing the same thing in the same area. Do you people ever get together and talk to each other and say, hey, what are you doing? Where are you going to open up your shop? Why are you opening up your shop? Gee, we have that service already. Does that ever happen? The answer is no. You know I'm telling you the truth. It doesn't happen because everybody's doing their own little thing and thinking that they're wonderful for doing it. Pro-life movement for some people has become a cottage industry. In other words, what are they doing? They have jobs for themselves. I'm not saying that you don't deserve sometimes remuneration for what you do. But we have people who are big CEOs of organizations making mucho dinero. That's Spanish, not Italian, okay? And you have to ask yourself, what is being accomplished with these big salaries? What's being accomplished by a multiplication? Believe me, the ultrasound is a wonderful thing. It's wonderful. I can't get over when I look at that. They send me 3D pictures of babies. How many ultrasounds do you need in one area? Everybody's having an event for an ultrasound. You know who's making the money there? The people who sell the ultrasound machines. That's who. How many do you need in an area? These are questions you have to ask yourself, but nobody's asking these questions. And that's why I am presenting this to you today. People oftentimes even replicate services like this. Commissioner said, we don't have the huge crowd here today. Why not? Well, I heard there's another event going on someplace else. That's silly. That's silly. Because you're spending money on 2 events that you don't have to spend on 2 events. You can incorporate it into 1 event. But everybody wants to do their own thing. Everybody wants to have a big parade, a big crowd, and say, look what we did, and we feel so good about this. I don't know how many lives that saves. I think if people pool their resources and can feel the enthusiasm of a crowd at a large event, it becomes like a Trump rally. You ever see a Trump rally? They go nuts. But there's huge crowds there. Why? Because of what he says, but because it generates a tremendous amount of enthusiasm. And that's what the pro-life people need, enthusiasm. Capiche? All right. That means I understand in Italian. All right. What's the next thing? It follows a theme. I like to work on themes. It follows a theme. Look, all of us, all people in pro-life, I presume, except those who are cashing in on it, and some are cashing in on it. All right, let me tell you that. Go and look up what people are making with pro-life, how big these organizations are, what people are doing with these organizations. Now you say, oh, he's talking about me. Yeah, I am. All right, I am. Work smart. Work smart. And look yourself in the mirror and say, really, how many babies am I saving when all these services are being replicated? Is my job essential? Should I be doing something more on a volunteer basis? What happened to volunteerism? Everybody drawing the salary for this, a salary for that? Nah, rethink this. Rethink this, okay? Because resources are limited. We don't have Uncle Joe, in the White House, that devout Catholic, sending money to pro-life. But Planned Parenthood is getting tons of money. Tons of money. We have to work smart in order to use our resources wisely, because we can't print money like the federal government does. That's a topic for another time. I'll talk about that. It's called gluttony. Gluttony. But another topic, another time. All right. Go to the next step. Look, all of us, as I said, we are pro-life, and we want to save babies, and all these things are wonderful, and we want the whole enchilada. You know what the whole enchilada is? That means, from conception until natural death. We want a total ban on abortions. Hey, look, I want a total ban on abortions. I really, I do with all my heart. Except I know what's doable and what's not doable. So don't be a big chidrul. You know what chidrul is? Commissioner chidrul. It's a cucumber. It's in Italian. I'm using nice words here. I could say some other words in Italian. Pastor Tracy, you're Italiana, see? She understands what I'm talking about. Okay.
Tutto bene.
I know her mother-in-law. She's Italian from Brooklyn. We speak the same language. All right. Everyone says, we want, total ban on abortion. Folks, let me tell you something. I'm talking to you straight. I never lie to you. That's why I'm in trouble half the time. You're not going to get the whole thing all at once. I'm telling you right now. So don't be stupid. Now, that's a clear word, isn't it? Don't be stupid. Go up to the blue states. Oh yeah, you're gonna have an end to abortion in New York, in California. Baloney. It's not going to happen. Oh, we're going to get an amendment passed, and we're going to get that passed, and they'll ban abortion in the states. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, especially in the blue states. Do we have a chance in some of the other states? Yeah, we do. But we have to be, very wise and pick our battles. What can we win? And there's something called incremental winning. Incremental means gradually. Gradually we will get what we want. Let me tell you something. The Roman Empire, abortion was legal in the Roman Empire. Right? Until Christianity came along. They didn't ban it right away. In other words, after the crucifixion and resurrection, it didn't change overnight. It took 330 years when Constantine made Christianity the religion of the state. Then abortion got banned. So figure out, folks, you got about 330 years at least before it's going to happen in this country. And that's if the country lasts that long. The way things are going now, I'm not sure we're going to make it another 330 years. Well, let's look at this and say, what can we get? What can we get? We have to look at each state. Again, you've got to be smart. Look at each state and say, what is doable in this state? Right? As I said, you're not going to get a total ban on abortion in the blue states. Maybe in some of the other states, the red states, it might be a possibility. But it's not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to happen in all of them. What we need is this incremental approach. I'm going to tell you what John Paul the Great said. John Paul called it lessening the negative effects. In other words, a politician can vote for a limitation on abortion, say for 15 weeks, even if you're a Catholic politician, a good Catholic like the president. Why? Not that the politician is in favor of abortion, but like, hey, let's see what we can get little by little. That's how you work this thing. That's how you work this thing. The great Ronald Reagan said,
if I can't get the whole loaf, I'll settle for half a loaf. So a lot of people are wasting a tremendous amount of time. They want it all. And you know what? It's not going to happen all at once. Work gradually toward the goal. Work gradually toward the goal. Know what's doable in your state. And know how you can work along with the politicians of your state. Let me tell you something. We have a very nice politician here in town. She's the president of the Senate, Mrs. Pasidomo. Lovely, lovely lady. And they're working on the 6-week ban for abortion in Florida. It still has to go through, whatever has to go through, state judiciary and all that stuff. But she said to me one day, she said, you can't get it all at once. You can't get it all at once. And there are some people who are very, very good people who are saying, but I can go for a 6-week ban. And a lot of people are saying, oh no, and we had some group, they want to go protest in front of Mrs. Pasidomo's office. That's stupid. She's not an enemy.
That's right.
She's not an enemy. And a lot of times the problem is we're looking at these people who, are basically good people. They are on our side. They know it's doable. And some of them also get concerned. They say, well, what about rape and incest? And, it's not that they're for abortion. It's that they're worried about, what happens in these horrible cases of rape and incest. A child 10 years old, pregnant. What do? They're not bad people. They're good people. And for the most part, they are on our side. They're on our side. They're not our enemies. And you must learn to treat them as people who are on our side. Ronald Reagan, if I can't get the whole loaf, I'll take a half a loaf. Just think about how many babies we can save if we take that half a loaf. Instead of being cabalosta, that is? Hard-headed. Hard-headed. And when you're hard-headed, Rob, you understand what I'm talking about, right? Okay. When you're hard-headed, you become hard-hearted too.
That's right.
And then there's no room anymore for changing minds and changing hearts of people who perhaps can be our friends and perhaps can be brought along. Now, this is the last point I'm going to give to you today. Following what I just said, that there are people who certainly are good people that are deep down inside pro-life. They're willing to make compromises regarding when, if, an abortion should take place. We have to be able to go out to these people as ladies and gentlemen, and Christian ladies and gentlemen. All right, Christian ladies and gentlemen. A couple of weeks ago, I'm at a club, country club, not like a nightclub, country club. Right?
Thanks for the clarification.
Things have different connotations these days. All right. So I went clubbing anyway, and there was a guy that came in, and some guy says to me, "You see that guy over there?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "He's a real lib." You know what a lib is?
Yeah.
A liberal. Okay, a liberal. So I said, I'd like to go over and talk to him because I want to get his opinion. Sometimes I'm really interested to see how other people think. But we don't even know how they think. I mean, most of them we just think they're a bunch of stunads, and that's the end of it. Someone over to him and I said, "Hey Lou," I kind of knew him. I said, "Hey Lou, I want to ask you a question because we were watching on the TV the terrible situation at the border, and folks, that's a mess. That's a terrible, terrible mess. And there are a lot of kids being hurt by it. They're being brought over for sex trafficking, and they're being dumped off in foster homes where, nobody even knows who they are, where they are, or how they're being treated by these so-called foster parents. We can't even find about 85% of them. They're someplace in the country, probably with sex traffickers. And that's how bad the situation is. So, I got this in my head, and over to him, I said, "Hey, Lou, what do you think about the situation at the border?" Because Lou's a, big time lib. And he says to me, "Well, people really want jobs. They're just here because, they want a better life for themselves and for their country." country they came from the country they came from, for their kids. You know what? Lou's not a bad guy. I mean, he didn't say anything like, yeah, they're great, bring them all over here because, we should have open borders and we should be able to go wherever we want to go and have a one world government and we got plenty of money in this country, we could feed them all and take care of them all. Well, it's not true. But he was concerned. These are people looking, to make a better life for themselves and for their families. I said, Lou, you're a good man. You're concerned about people and families. I'd like to say a prayer with you. Let's pray for those people that are coming over the border.
That's awesome.
And let's pray that we'll have the ability to make the border more secure. And that way they don't have to come over here as they are and endangering their lives and the lives of their children. He said, that's a good idea. And we prayed. Why can't we do that? How many pro-choice people did you ever ask why they're pro-choice? Did you ever ask them to pray with you? And to say the positive part of the whole thing, hey, yeah, let's be concerned about the women. Let's be concerned about those people who are in difficult circumstances that perhaps they are victims of a rape, of incest. Why not? Why not? Because you talk to the same people all the time. Yeah, they're bad, we're good, and they're our enemy. They are not necessarily our enemies. And we can make them our friends by at least listening to what they have to say and to see that it's not in their heads just killing babies, but they have genuine concerns about human beings and they have concerns about human life. Our goal is to begin to change minds and hearts.
That's
and
right.
You know what? We've been doing a lousy job for a long time. We have fought so hard to overturn Roe v. Wade, and that was a wonderful thing. But when Dodd happened, I knew it was a different world. And it's a different battle that we have to fight right now. So, what I'm going to ask you to do, your call to action. Number one, whatever organization you belong to, or if you are contributing to an organization, find out, if they're replicating services. Number one. Number two, tell them to talk to each other. You can't be doing the same stuff, 10 blocks away or out in the Immokalee rally today. We're sitting right here, right now. All right? Learn to work together and to do and get what is needed and to keep up with the times. Times have changed. They've changed. It's a different world and there are different needs. And messaging. What message are we sending out? How do we get the message across? We lost in Ohio. You know why? That was an amendment for, pro-life. Why? And it's a red state. Because the messaging was lousy. That's why. And women who voted for the overturning of that amendment or for stopping that amendment, they didn't get the right message. That's why. Use the media. Know how to use the media. Know how to use people who will be able to sway people's minds and hearts and then be able to change the votes. Ohio should have never happened. Don't let it happen anyplace else. Okay? Number two, as I said to you, what we have to do today is not only work together, we have to work smart. And that's our prayer, work smart. And number three, of course, what we have to do is to begin to see other people not as our enemies, but begin to see them as human beings. We love unborn babies. Well, how do you feel about people who are pro-choice politicians? I'll tell you right now, I don't like Joe Biden. But I got to pray for him.
That's right.
I got to pray for him. I got to love him. No matter what, I got to love him. I'm not going to vote for him, but I got to love him. All right? But that's what you have to do. You have to pray for them. And you have to reach out and touch them in a way that nobody's ever listened to me before. And try to make a friend of somebody who you are perceiving as an enemy at the moment. And so that's my comments for today. Get off your dupas, that's Polish, and do what I told you to do. And we'll come back next year. It'll be a different world. God love you.